Hey guys, welcome to this video. I'm just gonna be talking about my manga process and just showing you guys my second volume's upcoming pages, I guess. So yeah, I first off just want to say I always begin like whenever I'm creating the pages, I always begin creating small thumbnails of the pages, like in a lined notebook paper because it's just easy for me. Uh, I'll pop up a picture right here for y'all to see, but yeah, I always like beginning to use that thumbnail as a reference and putting it onto like the actual page because that's just easier for me. It works for me. Whatever works for you, you go ahead and do it. I'm not saying you have to follow my exact steps, but yeah. And then I like taking a blue lead pencil and then putting that onto the final paper because the reason why I use a blue lead pencil is because when you scan it, it doesn't pick it up. The draft or the sketches, it doesn't pick it up. Like if you scan it in the black and white grayscale settings or whatever, yeah, it doesn't pick it up. And then as you can see here, I'm using my dip pen. If you're wondering about the brand, I got for my pen, like that blue rubber pen, I guess that's how you remember it. I got it on Amazon. It's the Tachikawa brand. I'm pretty sure it's around like $6 or $7. Like you don't need this, but I just got it because I'm like, wait a minute, I want something like kind of fancy or something that looks nice while I'm working. You know, like a nice wooden handle and that blue rubber like grip thing. But yeah, and then for the nibs, I'm using the zebra nibs. I also got on Amazon. I'll definitely link all my products, or they're not my products, but the products I use down below. And yeah, the ink I'm using, it's actually a gift I got from my friend. It's like a cheap Walmart ink, you know. It works for me. It's definitely like black and opaque. That's like all that matters, and it's like nice and fluid actually for like a like general store ink. But yeah, I did previously use calligraphy ink to ink it, but I found that to be a little bit too on like the more thicker side. This one is just this general store ink I have right here. It's more fluid and moves easier for me. And yeah, so here I'm inking my characters, or I guess the antagonists of my stories, on this page. It's the doctors, the bad guys, I guess you could say. But yeah. I guess just a little bit about the characters I'm inking right here. They have evil intentions, and they are not good. Uh, yeah. And their intentions are to find ancient savages. Now, that might sound weird, but ancient savages, if you haven't read or checked out my book at all, I can quickly explain it right here. But ancient savages are people who have a special substance within their heart called purple catalyst. And what that substance in their heart is, it's essentially a cure for this cursed man. Now, that sounds like really weird, but this cursed man, basically, he committed several heinous crimes, like killing several thousands of people, and basically, like I guess you could say the gods of my world, they said, you know what? Since you're a kid, we don't blame you, because the reason why the kid had such murderous intent is because the kid received eyes from the scientist's parts. Now, what I just said right there probably makes no sense, but basically, in my world, this is based off of like Steel Ball Run, by the way. Like I've taken the idea of the Holy Corpse and kind of like made it my own, which I really love Steel Ball Run. But anyways, the idea of the scientist parts, basically the scientist, he's the one who created the world in my story. Or like changed it in that way. So the scientist, basically his body split, and like each part of his body contained special powers, and when a certain person absorbed it, they would get another like personality or emotion that would change their whole persona. And they would also gain heavy amounts of power. And basically the kid, like how someone obtains the part is it's when a person who has the part dies, they pass it on to the nearest youngest person. So let's just say Greed, one of the personalities the scientist had, Greed had one of the eyes from the scientist. And Greed, he was more hungry or wanted more parts for more power. So he killed his sister, his own sister, in hopes of getting the part, but little did he know that killing his sister transferred the eye to the nearest youngest person. And so he went to the village where the nearest youngest person was, and he killed his whole family. But once he reached the little kid, he unlocked a new emotion too, which is like anger and grief. And that's what caused him to go on a killing spree. Because once he killed Greed, he obtained Greed's eye. And now he's even more powerful, and he can't control those emotions. So the gods of my world, they're not really gods. I call them saints and archfiends, because they are the ones who have the scientist parts, right? So they go locate this boy, and they all vote on whether or not they should kill him or let him live. And the people there, they're just saying, oh, he's just a kid, let's let him live. Some were saying, we have to kill him. But then they would say killing him would just spread the eyes. So they're configuring a plan out for this boy. And little did they know that this boy with the two eyes, once they cursed him into this permanent beast man, he was able to find a cure. And that was from the doctors. That cure was that purple catalyst from the ancient savages. So this boy, he worked secretly with the doctors. And while the saints and archfiends, or AKA the gods of my world, were figuring out a plan to safely remove the eyes back from the boy. Because like once a part is merged with a human or whatever, a scientist part, you can't really like remove it. Because once you remove it, it'll just like transfer to the nearest youngest person. Because essentially removing it, you'd technically kill that person unless they live. There's obviously like a safe procedure to remove it, but that part that's gonna be removed it'll transfer to the nearest person. Yeah. So essentially, while the little kid, his name is Hyrendra. Let's call him Hyrendra because that's his name. Hyrendra, it's like I forgot where it originated, but it means like Lord of Diamonds, and that was his secret power, black diamond skin. But anyways, he was working with the doctors, and he eventually worked with them so much that the doctors, they actually turned the saints and archfiends into these monsters, or I guess you could say walruses in my story. Like these beings with like low emotion, and they just crave like their hunger, and basically just like these disgusting, horrifying creatures. It's it affected them. They're now like permanently like that, the saints and archfiends. And basically, or I should say, the saints and archfiends are not immortal. So while they are in those monstrous forms, that's when Hyrendra, the little kid, the cursed beast man, he's working with the doctors for finding his cure. And that's when it reaches to my main character, Drayden. Drayden, now his whole goal is different from Hyrendra's goal. Or I guess you could say they have like similar components or similar wavelengths. I don't know. The Drayden, he's also finding a cure, but it's not for himself. It's for his aunt. His aunt, unfortunately, was turned into a walrus, hideous monster, by the doctors. So now, the events in my story, what leads to Drayden wanting to find the cure is he himself is an ancient savage, and one of the doctors right here that I was inking, one of them spared Drayden because he's like, you know what? Your aunt is more interesting than you. Because at this point of the story, or like, even though it's the beginning, at this timeline, that doctor, his name Kuroso, we can call him Kuroso. Kuroso, he's already dealt with so many ancient savages that he's like, you know what? Your aunt is just more interesting than you. And I don't care. I'm just going to let you go. But that causes a whole chain of events after that. But anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, his aunt. His aunt is more interesting than him because his aunt has like the ability to like, I guess to have immunity to like those walrus natures, those like violent hunger craving tendencies. But obviously it's like a lot. Okay. It's a lot of like information that I'm saying right now, but I guess basically what I'm trying to say is that this is a crazy ass story. That's what I'm trying to say. And it's like there's so much going on, but that's something I've learned while you're creating a story. Offering simultaneous pieces of information at once to the reader, making it interesting. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. All that crazy stuff I was saying, it's like it doesn't make sense, but if you like take it all in, you're able to build this image, build this narrative about this world, and that's what draws in the reader. It leads them to the next page. They're like, oh, what the hell just happened to his aunt? Let me find out on the next page. And I guess that's my story writing. I'm very much a novice, a noob at this. Like, I don't consider myself a pro at all. But you know, maybe I'm not a noob exactly. I guess you could say noob intermediate, I guess. Cuz I don't know. I don't want to be too self-critical cuz I'm obviously my own worst enemy, but my writing, I definitely improved previously from my older stories, which we can get into another video. But yeah, I honestly sidetracked so hard I forgot what I was talking about. But yeah. Okay. So I'm trying to remember what I was talking about, but I was getting into the story, right? So basically, Drayden, my main character, he's finding a cure as well. And the cursed beast boy, or beast man, because he's grown now, Hyrendra, he's finding a cure for himself. And basically, they're both competing for this cure. And Drayden learns the same cure that cures Hyrendra, the beast man, is the same cure that cures his aunt, the hideous walrus monster. So they both compete for this cure, and eventually it leads to them meeting, you know, like fate leading them, bringing them intertwined together. And okay, I don't want to like spoil everything because it's not gonna make sense either ways because I haven't even like drawn it out yet, but it leads to them like coming together and facing off each other, and eventually their same end goal, that purple catalyst, it's like it's very crazy. It involves so much other things to reach this cure, And while they're fighting for the cure, like, I guess this is the main climax of my whole story, right? Getting that cure for his aunt, or the cure for Hyrinja himself. So he rids of himself of that cursed beast. Obviously, I'm gonna make the antagonist like not get the cure, but I'm just gonna end it off there. I think I'm saying too much, but yeah,